Today we're doing a quick video for you guys on what character you should try. Obviously with a game like Guild Wars 2, the easiest answer is all of them, but if you are a bit more limited in time or would like to just focus on one profession, here's a brief rundown on each of the light armor professions. So a quick introduction. We are Project Dyad, a couple that loves to play games together. We are currently very invested in Guild Wars 2. We hope you enjoy this video and it gives you a little bit of insight. Today we are discussing light armor users. So we will be focusing on the Elementalist, the Mesmer, and the Necromancer. All three are super versatile and fun, and there really isn't a bad choice here at all. But I will give a brief description and a showcase of what they can do to help you make your choice. First, let's start with the Elementalist. The Elementalist focuses on elemental magic. They're able to conjure elemental-based weapons and summons. As a base Elementalist, your specializations will simply focus on the elements: fire, air, earth, water, and lastly arcane. The Elementalist has 3 elite specs you can unlock: the Tempest, the Weaver, and the Catalyst. First, we'll start with the Tempest. The Tempest gives you the power of shouts to use on your allies as well as your enemies. The Tempest specialization offers superior area of effect abilities in exchange for a slower attunement rotation. They will generally be brought into a party as a support, as they can provide amazing heals as well as a boon support when they need to be. They overload their elements to gain new abilities, but this ties into that slower attunement rotation. When you unlock this specialization, you will get the ability to use a Warhorn, which can provide a ton of boons for your allies, as well as doing some damage. Next we have the Weaver. The Weaver, in my opinion, is one of the most fun specializations in the game. You gain the ability to control 2 elements at once to make new powerful abilities. This spec is focused on being a DPS, and you can push out a lot of damage very quickly by weaving through your attunements. You will have to get really good at comboing in order to push out the DPS very quickly though. Doing this is extremely fun. You get a lot of new abilities, so you get a lot of fun stuff you can do, like mixing water with fire and mixing earth with lightning. There's a lot of combos you can do, and it just works really well for this class. Unlocking the Weaver will give you access to a sword as your main hand weapon. Last up for Elementalist is the Catalyst. The Catalyst is the newest spec coming out with End of Dragons. This spec gives you access to Jade Spheres, which grant a ton of combo fields for players to use based on your attunement. Generally, these will be played as a DPS class for most game types, but you can always switch it up if you want to. You will get access to Augment skills, which have more effects if you use them within the same element of Jade Sphere, so you have to kind of combo them in together. Unlocking Catalyst will give you access to hammers, so if you want to smack your enemies with elemental powers, this may be the right choice for you. Next up, we got the Mesmer. The Mesmer is one of my personal favorites, as I've been maining this one for about a year now. Mesmer is one of the most unique classes in this game, or even in MMOs in general in my opinion. Base Mesmer is a super quick, fun, sneaky duelist. They focus on causing chaos and confusing their enemies. You'll be able to summon clones, then blow them up on your enemies. With Mesmers, you can do a ton of damage very quickly, as they have high burst capabilities if you combo it right. They also use a greatsword as a long-range weapon, so you get some unique choices to go with. You will get access to 3 elite specializations, which is the Chronomancer, the Mirage, and the Virtuoso. Chronomancers gain control of time itself. This spec is able to support and buff allies as well as do a ton of damage. This can be played as a DPS, a support, or even a tank in certain situations and some raids. You will unlock skills called Wells, which are ground target AoEs that can do damage, give buffs to anyone in them, or you can even create a gravity well, which sucks enemies in and knocks them down. You will even get the power to turn back time and allow yourself to make huge combos due to resetting cooldowns when you use this. Chronomancers unlock shields, which are great because they give you a bit more sustain, but you're also able to use them to trap enemies and give buffs to your allies. Next, we got the Mirage. Mirages cloak themselves in the desert sand to help them duel in any situation. They're very stealthy and they use deception to ambush their foes. These are generally ran as a conditioned DPS. You give up your normal dodge abilities to get Mirage Cloak, which will give you ambush skills when used. Ambush skills will change your main hand first skill to a more powerful version. Mirage unlocks main hand Axe, which is probably one of the most fun weapons with a Mesmer, as you get to dance around your foes to confuse them and leave a ton of clones behind. Lastly, the newest spec is the Virtuoso. Virtuosos give up their clones and illusions in favor of manifesting sharp psionic skills and blades. They can make daggers and blades rain over their enemies. This fits very well into DPS roles and can be played as power or condition. They are very capable of putting out large amounts of damage very quickly. They can also encase themselves in daggers to prevent damage, or spin 2 large blades to push enemies away from yourself. Virtuoso unlocks main hand dagger, which is amazing and just makes Mesmers even more like a stealthy duelist and just fits them very well. Last but certainly not least, we're going to talk about the Necromancer. The Necromancer is an amazing class to play for all skill levels. They're kind of a jack of all trades and they master all of them too. They make use of dark magic, controlling curses, wells, and their special abilities by using a shroud. Necromancers can also control the dead, so if you enjoy a pet playstyle, this might be the class for you. They can do support, they can do crazy high DPS, or they can just stack a ton of conditions. You'll be able to get 3 elite specializations: the Reaper, the Scourge, and the Harbinger. First, for the Necromancer, we have the Reaper. The Reapers use powerful shouts to empower themselves and freeze their enemies. They're extremely strong and very durable. Their Shroud form gives them a use of a massive scythe and does very high DPS and a ton of AoE damage. This grants them a lot of survivability because it gets a whole second health bar. Reaper unlocks Greatsword, which just feels amazing with Necromancer. You'll even be able to use a giant claw to pull enemies towards you and kill them very quickly before they even know what happened. Next is the Scourge. The Scourge uses the power of sand and punishment skills to damage enemies and support allies. They give up their regular Death Shroud in favor of Shades. Shades are placed as ground target AoEs, then blown up using different skills available to them. Some of these can provide support like boons or shields, or causing debuffs and damage on enemies standing in them. Generally, you'll play a Scourge as a support class, but they make great condition damage playstyle as well. Scourge unlocks Torch, which honestly just feels perfect for a Necromancer. Last, we have the Harbingers. Harbingers bring elixirs to the field. They can use elixirs to both buff and damage enemies by smashing the potion after consuming it. Their Shroud form gives them high damage but makes them vulnerable to attacks. They utilize a new mechanic called Blight to reduce their health but increase their damage output. So you have to play smart and make sure you manage this buff well, otherwise you can die very quickly. They unlock Pistol as a main hand, giving you more ranged choices on a Necromancer. Well, thank you all for taking the time to watch this, and hopefully you saw a profession that just feels right for you, whether it be the aesthetic or the playstyle. This isn't meant to show you everything that the class can do, just a quick rundown of what they're about, what they're able to do, what their look is, and just how their skills kind of feel. We do stream 4 days a week over on Twitch, so if you want more content from us, feel free to check us out there. If you have any more questions, you're more than welcome to ask anytime. But with that said, we will catch you next time.
I guess that I was hoping I could break